Welcome to my bus. It's a greenhouse and it's a bus. So this is my bus. This was here when I bought the place, along with a huge amount of other rubbish. This clearly isn't rubbish, but it is a non-functional bus. Parts of the engine were scattered around all over the place here and jammed in that shed down the back. So there's a story behind this bus. The previous owner's dad had actually imported 2 of them from Japan and meant to use them to travel around Australia, but that never happened. So the bus was gutted and left here, and it was one of the absolute treasures of all the stuff that was left behind. So if you look up, you'll see that a few months ago I had a wonderful local guy who's a great handyman remove the roof, the steel panel from the roof, and replaced it with, as you can see, clear panels to turn it into a hothouse. Obvious bit of upcycling to me. The door is not quite what it was. It used to be glass, but it had a bit of a run-in with a visiting child, and yes, an incident involving a billiard ball, and smashed it to a million, billion, trillion little pieces. The door's now got a piece of black steel on it, which works perfectly well. So let's go and have a look what's in my bus house. I actually really love this space. It's a really, really nice space to be in. You can see it's actually quite pleasant. Oh, so I'm just going to close this door. It's the original bus door. And this is my peaceful propagation and seed growing area, and just nursery for babies and new plants that have arrived. I got some new plants over winter that were actually sent through the mail. Coped really well, but some of them came from Queensland, where it's a lot warmer than it is here, and I'm just overwintering them in there, and then I'll transfer them to outside. Other things I've got in here are little baby capsicums. And here is a little, this is soapwort, which is a plant that has high levels of saponins in the leaves. And you can use this plant, I grow this plant as a soap plant, guys. I'm super proud, and he's kind of finished now, but this beautiful little orchid, and this orchid was doing okay outside. It hung in there, but it's never flowered, and I brought it in here this year. I only just had this roof here. Isn't it magnificent? Isn't that just beautiful? I could not be happier inside a cathedral. I just absolutely adore this. So when this was finished, I brought this little fella in. This beautiful plant flowered for me, and I've just been so happy. This is a little carob tree, 2 little carob trees here that I grew from seeds. A friend gave me some pods a few years ago, and so I grew these trees from seeds. They'll go in the garden. There is a little citrus along here, which I'm kind of babying. Our climate's actually a bit cold for citrus, so you have to baby them to get them established. And this is some little baby avocados that my dog ate. And this fella is a low-cut. They grow really well in my climate, so this fella's just seeing out winter in here. Then I'll put that one outside. And down here are my propagation boxes. Again, these are, I really hate polystyrene. It's awful stuff. Not only is it, environmentally not friendly, but it actually has a really unfortunate effect on me. It makes me feel that squeaking noise makes me feel quite sick to my stomach. But I, again, inherited these and thought, well, I'll put them to good use. So these are awesome propagation boxes. Most of these I just planted a couple of days ago. Really just been in maybe 4 or 5 days. But these fellas, oh, these are nice little guys. Little baby tomatoes. And again, these little baby cucumbers. So I think I planted these about 2 weeks ago. The date's on their pegs somewhere. And that's my bus house. Thank you, Bluey. He's having his little crow. So it's just behind my house. It's fantastic. And yeah, I sit in here, have a chair, another chair there. I got all my tools in this little dodgy old cupboard here. This was also left behind. A lot of the things that were left behind were completely destroyed. They were rubbish, unfortunately. So a lot of it had to go to the tip. But you know, things like this and the bus and quite a lot of other things I just gave away to people. But yeah, bus has been amazing and I love this space. So off to drive the bus. Where are we going? Straight into the peach tree. Okay, today's job is to put greenhouse plastic along this roof of the bus, because you can see the sun comes just straight in through this clear panel, and it's extremely hot in here. And hot is one thing, but it also burns the plants quite badly. So this is a before and there will be an after. So the plan is twofold. It's to put this plastic up here, so that will go down both sides. So that will both protect the plants from the direct sun and provide a bit of insulation, because there'll be an air layer trapped between these two, between this plastic, this solid sheeting, and the layer of greenhouse plastic. And then so that's stage one, and then stage two will be to put in a smaller greenhouse within the bus, and that will be the space where I will be able to control conditions a lot better. I'll put a bit of heating in there and some grow lights, so that they'll be on a timer, so the grow lights will just increase growing time in winter. It'll increase light hours in winter, which makes a massive difference to plant growth. And it obviously is quite warm in here right now because it's sunny, but overnight in winter it gets very cold. And this is the bus of the cats. They love it. They've been chucked out. So this is the sheet of plastic that's going to go up onto that roof part. I have some help doing this. The kid's dad has kindly offered to come and help me with this, because I have some injuries to my shoulders from building things up high, and I can't afford to be non-functional. So we'll get into this and get the plastic up. The plan is to use pieces of timber to hold it up, otherwise it'll just rip. Okay, I'm going to get going. Stage 1 completed. The plastic is up and you can already see the difference in the light. So that'll protect the plants a lot from the direct sunlight. Over summer I'll have to put up shade cloth as well, but that's pretty good. That's a lot better. And I've started tidying up the bus, so getting there. Basically pulling everything out. I've just pulled out all the old pots and emptied them, collected all the soil, getting ready for planting my spring seeds, and I'll be looking into a hothouse to put inside this bus hothouse for growing aeroids and houseplants out here. Lots more has been done. It may not look like it, but it's kind of organised. I've got the so there's a space here for the small greenhouse that's going to house my indoor plants that I'm growing on to sell, and some other plants as well. Down the back here, at the moment, I've got all my polystyrene boxes down there. Now, I did not go out to get these. I used to buy organic veggies from a guy who used these boxes all the time. So I kept them and I use them to start my winter seeds. I don't put them directly into the polystyrene. I put the pots inside the boxes, and it keeps them a bit warm and keeps water in. So they're just quite handy for that. Good insulation. Some pots up here, and my remaining bus plants. This is the last remaining citrus. You go, little guy. All of its comrades are dead. So, and that's the front. So it actually is looking a lot better than it was. And that's the cat's little house there that I've made for them. I'm getting some of these mats down on the floor. And tomorrow my son will, no doubt, he was keen to, otherwise I'll do it myself, help me put up the small greenhouse that's going in here. Just too hard to set up an environment in the bus itself for the tropical indoor plants. Keeping this whole thing heated in winter and cool in summer would be really difficult, but just a small enclosed space. In the same way I've done inside the house, you know, if you create a small enclosed space, then you can much more efficiently heat, cool, and look after it. Okay, so that's where we're up to so far. Beauty of this bus. It got a bit dusty in here, and it actually quite warm today. Well, you know, 19 degrees Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it was warm for winter. Not that it's winter anymore. It's actually technically spring. Oh, it is spring. I'm just in denial. I like winter. Spring means a lot of work, and then summer means snakes and dry and possibly bushfires, but it also means food growing, so, you know, gotta love that. All right, so that's where it's up to so far. The greenhouse is taking shape. My son is a very capable buildy type person. He loves things like this, don't you, Del? So he's having great fun putting it together. That's actually a pretty good size. Doesn't look like it on the video, but it is actually a really good size. So it'll have shelves, two lots of shelves, and a walkie-in bit. And the main thing is that hopefully the roof will fit within the roof of the bus is the main thing. So it's got to go in between these two bits here, which is where the roof was cut out. And there is no room here for that steel, and quite sharp actually. It was cut off with it should really be covered. Yet another of the 7,579,000,000,000 jobs I have to do should be covered because it's a bit rough. It was obviously just cut with a angle grinder. So anyway, the greenhouse, the smaller greenhouse, the smaller greenhouse has to fit within that space there. So there's more room higher up. These are kind of billowy, but there's plenty of room up there. But not here, not at that particular spot. Something came in. Don't know what it is. It's creeping. Are you helping or hindering, Minky? You helping? Hindering? Probably the latter. Well, thanks for your assistance, mate. I am very glad I have a technically minded child to wrangle the instructions so that I don't have to do it. Because even though I've built these greenhouses before and it's not that bad, it is just annoying. So thank you, darling.
That's okay.
It fits. The roof is going to fit within the roof of the bus with a gap. So that is a great relief. I did measure it, but you know, you never know until it's in. So it's looking pretty good actually. Looking good. Plenty of shelf space. And it fits. So good. Can you get the height, or do you want me to come and do that for you?
I can get it, I just need to...
Okay. You sure?
Yep.
Doing well. Alright, we have the structure built. Thanks to my clever son, my 11-year-old son, who did all of this by himself. Put up this structure with a bare minimum of very late assistance from me. I was off doing other things and he wanted to do it himself, and look at what a fabulous job he's done. So this is brilliant. This creates a greenhouse within a greenhouse, and it enables me to control the environment within this smaller greenhouse without having to try and insulate the whole big one, which is the big one is being the bus. So yeah, obviously with the greenhouse plastic I'm doing as much as I can. You can see the lights, God, you can see the grow lights in the house flickering. I'm doing as much as I can to improve the environment inside the bus itself, but it's really impossible to create enough humidity and warmth in the bus itself for the kind of plants I want to grow, and even just to get my spring seedlings going. Alright, so I'm quite excited by that. Next job is to put some greenhouse plastic underneath the bottom, which acts as a kind of drip tray. It's actually surprisingly effective if you just tape the corners up. So I'm going to get onto that next. There it is. Good job. Thank you, Del. So the next stage has been to put down a piece of greenhouse plastic. This is actual proper greenhouse plastic from a greenhouse. So it's really sturdy stuff. If you don't have, I got this piece from a friend who had a lot of it sitting around, but if you don't have that, it's actually very cheap to buy online, or just ask, you know, in your local Facebook groups if anyone's got greenhouse plastic sitting around. But it's the best thing to go underneath these things, and I'm just going to tuck the corners up and tape them. So the point of having the greenhouse plastic underneath is to act as a sort of a spill catcher. So the floor of this bus is just wood. It's literally just been put together with pieces of wood. So I don't really want to have water sitting on it from the greenhouse. The seedlings will at least initially be in those polystyrene boxes there, and the other plants will be in cat litter trays. I just have to get some more trays. So pretty low-tech business. Tape. This is just duct tape and scissors, and I'm just taping it up like that, just so you can see. It's surprisingly effective at catching the water. And the actual cover of the greenhouse, so that's the actual cover, we'll go over the top of that, so it will keep it in place even more. Just a really good way of keeping water from damaging the floor. We have a greenhouse, which is actually much bigger than it looks. It's 1.4 by 1.4 and 2 meters high. So I'm very excited. It's done. Let's have a little peek inside. Very cool. We have shelves. Okay, shelf fell down. There is another shelf for that. It's over there. That's right, I'll fix that. We have shelves. All the shelves are there. That one's on the bottom there. And a shell. It fits within the right dimensions that I wanted it to. And the plastic down the bottom. So I'm delighted. I'm very happy with that. Fantastic. Right, the chooks needed their scraps, so let's go and have a look at the bus now. I want to see what that's up to. I know it's finished and I want to show you guys how it looks finished because I'm pretty happy. Let's go have a look. Hey, come on in and have a look. How good does the inside of this bus look now? I mean, renovation plus. I'm really, really happy with it. Yes, and that is a guinea fowl yelling. Let me show you the source of that noise. And of course, what are you yelling about? Earlier, the beauty of having a bus as a greenhouse is that you can open and close windows as it gets hot or cold. So I might shut these windows along here because it's not a hot day. It was maybe, it's maybe about 20 degrees, so not hot at all. But in here this morning, it would have been inside this greenhouse here, it would have been getting close to 40, I reckon, Celsius that is, which is not pleasant for plants, and it's not pleasant for us, but I really didn't want to burn the plants. So I came in here and I popped this shade cloth on top, because if it's going to be 40 in there on a 20-degree day outside, then it's going to be really nasty when it gets any warmer. So it's shade cloth on top. So I've mitigated the sun by putting up this plastic first. This is greenhouse plastic, and you've seen that process. And then the greenhouse itself, I bought in this fabric with these green squares. It's stronger, but it's also it does cut the sunlight down considerably. But this morning I came and put this shade cloth on top, and once summer really kicks in, I'll be putting shade cloth over the entire top of the bus. So we might show that process. But anyway, how good is this? This is my greenhouse. Let's go have a look what's in there. There's not much in there yet, I have to say. It's mostly my ornamentals from inside, my houseplants, which is cool. That's what I really, really want this structure for. I also want it to start my seeds, and that's what I'm going to be doing in the next week or two. So all my seed starting supplies are under this table, under there. So there's pots, and that's a rubbish bag in a chook bag. And there's my soil, or some of my soil. But for now, let's have a quick squeeze in here and see what's in there. Come have a look. Okay, so I've got a couple of Monstera deliciosas in here. These are large form, and if you watch my indoor plant or indoor growing tour, you'll see me talk about these Monstera deliciosas. This is large form, but you can tell because the nodes are very short. And this is the one that produces edible and delicious fruit. And it's what they're named after. They're called Monstera deliciosa, not because of these delicious, gorgeous, beautiful leaves, which are undeniably gorgeous, but because of the fruit, which is reputedly delicious. I haven't tried it yet. And here is my little carob. Again, you'll recognize that little guy from the indoor growing tour. And that guy's coming along well. It's got new leaves and it's growing on. Now I'm also going to show you planting some trees from seed. So it'll be, I've got an anthurium that I've propagated. This is Anthurium balayoanum. I'm really happy. Actually, I just propped this yesterday and it's happy. There's no, oh, this leaf's wilting a little bit because it's a brand newie, but this leaf's looking good. It feels it's nice and turgid. So that means the greenhouse is doing its job. If I can put a propagation, a fresh prop like this, it had a tiny bit of root on the stem because I did air layer this before I chopped it, but it's doing extremely well for just a tiny bit of root, and it was chopped yesterday. So this greenhouse, it tells me the greenhouse is doing its job really well. There's some really, really sad Pilea peperomoides. These guys are sad because they were an experiment I did last year in the bus, and the bus, before the bus had any of its renovations. This and a couple of other plants, in fact the deliciosas as well, are the reason I ended up doing this greenhouse inside the bus, because the bus, the way it was you can see the leaves are burnt. They look awful. They look really miserable, and they've had a bit of time indoors, so they're starting to come back a bit. But I'm really keen to test out poor little guys. I'm sorry little guys, but I'm testing out the new setup on them a bit as well. This is a crappy old box that I found in the shed, but there's a heap of propagations in there, and these are all aeroids and houseplants, tropical houseplants. So the fact that they have been in here for 3 or 4 days and they're actually looking much better than they did inside says a lot for the greenhouse and how well it's functioning. Okay, so I'm now going to close this up because it's actually got cooler. The temperature in there, just by feel, is a few degrees, 2 or 3 degrees warmer than the temperature out here. We're now starting to get towards, well, late afternoon. So I'm going to close this up now to keep the heat that is retained in there, and hopefully that will stay in there for a while. And I want to keep humidity in there because the plants that are in there at the moment are aeroids and they really appreciate warmth and humidity, but they don't want to be cooked. All right, so I'm going to close this window. And then I'm going to close this door. And what I love about these greenhouses is that you can open these doors completely, and the fact that it's got a zip on each side means that you can actually get passive airflow. So if you I'm very, very happy with this greenhouse. I'm happy with this. This has done what I wanted it to, and I may actually put a lot of the veggies out here and not put them in there. May put them in there to germinate and then out here to get more light, or I do have some grow lights that I'm going to try in there to get the veggies going. But primarily this is for aeroid type things, and the rest of it, the bus, is more veggies. But I think this will be great for getting veggies started. And there's not a lot of room left, so one must do the crab. So the plants that are here are just some citrus. This is the only citrus that, well, it's not the only one that's alive. There's another very sad mandarin tree, or what remains of it, on the porch. But look at this guy growing back. Something I've really learned about citrus is that they do not want to dry out. They really, really hate drying out. They are fussy plants, but I persevere. And then over here, there's an orchid. God, there's a little orchid here, a dendrobium orchid. And in here, there are some trees, which are these ferns, which again are propagating. Gorgeous blue star phlebodium ferns. But this is the greenhouse from this side. Very happy with it. Welcome to my bus. It's a greenhouse and it's a bus. I'm so happy I've finally got it functional. Let's just go and have one more little look around before I finally do the last edit and put this out. I'm so sorry. I promised this for months, and I have been actually working on it for months, literally physically working on the bus and filming as I've gone. So it's going to take a bit of editing, but it is definitely time to get this out. And I'm actually really happy to have waited, because there's, like, you can see the finished product now. You can see it actually functioning. So let's go and have a look. I've actually, there are normally grow lights in this smaller greenhouse within the bus, but they were strobing, and I have chucked out so many bits of footage now. I tried to work around them, but it just wasn't working. And so let's go and have a look at the last bit of it, the finished product, the thing's growing. It's working really well, and I'm really pleased. The perspective of the camera makes things kind of look cluttered and messy. It's actually not. So I really have enjoyed having this bench space, this table space, nice and clear. Underneath here, I've got everything organized, and it's made potting up the veggie seedlings so easy. I've got my water barrel here, and that's working so well. It's actually quite big. The perspective thing again makes it look small, but it's, I don't know how many litres, it doesn't say. It's big. It's a big barrel. And it means I can just grab water when I need it. When I need to fill it up, I just bring the hose in here and just fill it up. So that works really well. These are actually propagations from last year, I think, or the year before. They're actually, they're actually madder, which is a type of very colour fast natural dye plant. You use the roots and it gives you a very colour fast. They're a traditional dye plant, and I was going to sell them, but there's just, I don't know, there's not enough interest around here. And then we have the actual greenhouse within the greenhouse. I'm just going to do a quick little walk through. We're going to go through here and see what's around this corner, because around this corner is doing fabulously as well. Very quickly. These are things that don't need to be in, like, these are the things that are enjoying just the greenhouse itself. And this plastic has made, this greenhouse plastic on the roof of the bus has made a world of difference. It's actually created a really nice growing environment. It's amazing the amount of heat insulation it provides, but also just filtering the light. So we had a pretty hot day yesterday. It was 32, 33 here. I'll put the Fahrenheit temperature on the screen. But these guys were fine. Absolutely no worries at all. I opened windows. I opened the bus up completely, and I feel like as long as there's air movement, it's going to be perfectly happy. You know, certainly in the low to mid 30s. When it gets up higher, I have a plan, because I don't want things getting cooked in here. In this bus part itself should be okay, but in the actual greenhouse, within the greenhouse bus, I have a bit of a plan just in case things get, I mean, we do get temperatures. The hottest it's been here is 46 Celsius. And sometimes you'll get that sort of weather, you know, you get a summer where you have lots of heat like that. It's a lemon? No, it's a lemonade. Ooh, very cool. I have so much trouble getting citrus established. It's a common thing in our area. Once it gets established, it's fine. It's just a little bit cold. Citrus is actually subtropical plant, so there you go. And this is a box full of propagations and seedlings. These are some sunflowers that I'm growing because it's Sunflower Hill, so I have to grow sunflowers. And these are actually they're from inside. You saw them in my kids' greenhouse in that indoor growing video, the second video, part 2. These are some capsicums that have been growing inside, and I'm just acclimatizing them to going outside by growing them in here. I may actually just grow them in here, because our growing season's a bit short. This is just a propagation from last year, I think. It's a mulberry tree, and this is a nice little lily-pilly tree. I love growing these. And as we come round, we can see what my plan is, my strategic plan for extreme heat, which is this guy here. I bought it for 25 bucks from Buy Swap Sell, just from secondhand from a local person. Didn't need it anymore. It's just a little evaporative cooler. Fantastic because it doesn't use much energy because it's an evaporative cooler. So you put water in the top and that will, it has a fan in it and that will blow out moist air, which is absolutely fabulous because I do not want the plants drying out. That's the main thing in this greenhouse. I want to be able to cool them down without drying them out. There's some happy cats. There's Isla sleeping there. Hi Isla. Good spot, isn't it? She likes it on the shelf of the front window of the bus. Very nice. There's a driver's seat there. Okay, and so back to this greenhouse that you saw my son and I building. I've had one mishap on the greenhouse, which is that the zip on this side is broken. It's because it's the cover, the plastic cover is actually too tight. So I've been pulling it hard to pull the zip down. I suspect it's because we didn't push in some of these joins properly. So I'm going to investigate that, but I will fix that with some Velcro is my plan. I've got this open just to film in it, but it depends on the weather. I had it completely open yesterday in the heat and it did super well, did really well in the heat. So let's have a look at what's inside. I do have grow lights here. Same setup as I have inside the house. They're all connected. There's a switch and a timer, and I have 4 grow lights. They're under there as well, and they're under here. Doing these veggies, they've done extremely well. As you can see, the veggies are very happy, and that's a really good indicator that they're getting enough light. So there's just one plug, which is fantastic. I really like just having one plug. I feel like that's safer as well rather than a whole lot of separate plugs. So I've got my house plants in here, some of those propagating, not propagating, some of those growing on, and they're doing really well. They're actually really enjoying the conditions. This Philodendron ernestii is absolutely thriving. Was doing fine inside, but it's really happy out here. I think it really likes the heat. Same with these other plants. This is a oh, what's that one? It's a laniata, mint laniata down there. That's doing super well. And so that's a Philodendron atabapoense down there, and that's a little crazy little propagation that I just need to train on this pole. It's a splendid, Philodendron splendid, and that's just a little heart leaf, variegated heart leaf there. I've got some Monstera deliciosas that I have grown from propagations and will sell when they're ready. And this cute little guy here is a little baby carob. In this box here I have more carob propagations, carob seeds from those pods, and we've got our first little baby coming up. This box, which I showed you earlier, is still doing extremely well, or the plants in it are doing extremely well. It hasn't overheated. I've been really impressed. It does super well in here. And here's some more indoor plant propagations. This is actually not a variegated plant at all. It's a Monstera deliciosa, and it's from that same lot, but it has got some sport variegation. This really cute flecking little flecks of variegation on this leaf. Don't know where that came from. It probably won't continue, but it's cute. It's pretty. And there's some other little propagations here, which I think I showed you last time, but they're doing really well, these little anthuriums and bits and pieces. Then we've got the veggies in here, actually doing super well, this box. This is one of, these veggies were all planted at different times. So some of them are quite well grown, it's a weed, and others are just still coming up. So this down here is a Sakata melon, I think it's called, and these are cucumbers, and we've got some tomatoes here. Tomatoes are starting to need to be planted out, so I'm going to be getting onto that. Down here, these have just been, oh no, they haven't just been planted. These are like special pretty sunflowers, and they're really taking their time. Not hugely impressed with those. Down here, we've got more veggie seedlings. So what have we got back there? Pumpkins. Lots of pumpkins and zucchinis, some beans. All of these are going to go out pretty soon. Up here we've got more houseplant propagations just growing on. A few different things there. And I think I may have already shown those, or I may not. But they're just growing on. I will be selling those at some point. Same thing here, and in this tray here there's more veggies. You can see the tomatoes have come up. They are up, And there's some more cucumbers. There's some, I think these guys might be zucchini actually. I think I went and planted more zucchini. Down the bottom there is, those are definitely pumpkins, and whatever is in there is not coming up yet. Oh no, I can't remember what that was. I know I've labelled everything, but I just can't see it at the moment. Oh, hang on. Oh yes, okay. It's eggplants and capsicums. All right. Well, that's interesting. They've taken a while. And up here, last box to look at. This you can't. There's nothing much to see yet, but this is where I've put the carob propagations. So I just think it's doing really well. Everything's really happy in there. Everything's looking great. The incubator that I'm using for heat has done really well. Even when it's quite cold outside, I'll come in the morning. I just run it overnight. I'll come in the morning and it's very warm in here. Really snug. So I'm really happy with this greenhouse. I'm really happy with how it's performing and how all the plants are doing in there. It's actually doing a lot better than I expected. So yeah, it's great. Really great. Very happy with it. All right, friends, that's your bloomin' lot for today. I'll be delighted to finally get this bus video done. I'm really excited actually to have this space now, because it is so much better. It's so much nicer, and it's practical. It's a space I can actually use. So next year I'll be able to get the veggie seedlings going much earlier, because I already have this. I already have the setup, and I'll just be able to get in there and do it. You know, this year again, I've not missed the window by any means, but it's later than I would have liked to get those plants into the ground. But then, you know, it's still cold. We had, like as I said, we had a hot day yesterday, and we've had warm days leading up to that. But we haven't had any other real hot weather for a while. Personally, I'm not a fan of the heat. I find it really hard to work in, and I have to be outdoors in it every single day. I have to take care of animals and plants, and I find the heat really difficult to cope with physically. So I'm enjoying the cooler weather, but the plants really need some heat to get going. It's okay. I've got this greenhouse and they're starting really well. So what I'm going to do now is go and do some watering, and then go and edit this video so I can actually put it out. Anyway, thank you again. Thank you all so much for joining me and for taking this journey with me, and I really appreciate it. Really appreciate that people are leaving nice comments and are subscribing and all of those things, and liking my videos. They all really help my channel get going, so I really appreciate that. Thank you. Now, some of this footage in this was filmed by my son, so all credit to him. He's 11 and he's really interested in filming and filmmaking and stuff like that, so all credit to him, and he's a good bright kid, as all my kids are. Anyway, thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoy seeing my bus greenhouse. That was a cat. So it's a hooroo from me, and it's hooroo from her. Since she's here to say hooroo, why not?